Welcome to the Tuesday night. It is Tuesday night, right?
I think it is.
Yes. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Just Sports. My name is Les Martin, along with our executive producer, which was on vacation last week, someplace in the Bahamas. She is now back. We want to welcome Miss Honeybee, and
I'm Brent Allen.
We certainly want to thank you for taking an hour out of your day to join us here at the Hometown Sears studio, where we talk about local sports, national sports. We talk a little bit about everything.
A little bit of everything.
Cooking, wives not being able to cook or not cooking enough, things like that nature. You know what I mean? Also, if you want to join us, you can call 566-1450 or 562-3557, as well as you can join us on Facebook at Just Sports, Brent, Les, and Greg. If you have not sent a friend request, go ahead and do it. We will accept it right on the air, and you can send all your comments, whatever you'd like to say, to us. And, of course, we will read them and keep your name
anonymous.
Anonymous.
If you want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before we get started, though, we got to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. First and foremost, we want to say thank you to Rainbow Ford. Rainbow Ford is the home of the guaranteed financing, whether you have good credit, bad credit, and of course, if you got good credit, you ain't got a problem. If you got bad credit, or if you're bankrupt, it doesn't really matter. They can set you in a ride today. A ride of your choice. Let them work out the finances. That's what they do the best, is work out the finances for you. Their phone number is 562-2251. As well as, I would like to say, also, we have some information that I was supposed to send along last week, and guess what? I didn't. I didn't do it because I actually forgot. That's what happens when you got a 47-year-old memory. It just doesn't work. Rainbow Ford, it's for the Dream Big Sell event. They have a 2013 Ford Fiesta ST, stock number 1029, only $15,745 after the Ford factory rebate. Or you can choose a 2013 Ford Super Cab XST, stock number 1116. It's four-wheel drive only. It's the only one they have. It's $29,930 after the Ford factory rebate at Rainbow Ford, where dreams certainly come true. Also, come to Rainbow Ford Dream Big Sales event for the 2014 Ford Escape, stock number 1152. Only $21,795 after the Ford factory rebate, or a 2014 Ford Explorer, stock number 1140, only $28,330 after the Ford factory rebate. Guess what, folks? Rainbow Ford is where the dreams come true. Good credit, bad credit, or bankruptcy, it doesn't really matter. The phone number is 562-2251. Also, we would like to thank Sears, your hometown Sears studio. We was looking at some toolboxes last week. I'm still thinking about buying a toolbox from Sears.
Yeah.
I've got one, but I think I'd like to buy just a little bit bigger one.
Yeah, I think I need a bigger one as well.
I mean, stop and think about it. That's our man stuff, right?
Yeah, and mine's gotten to the point where I've got too many screwdrivers in my screwdriver drawer, for instance.
Right.
And I need more drawers.
It's much like women and where they put their pots and pans.
Or closet.
Or closet,
space.
yes. Or closet, yeah. How about closet? That's better, right?
It's like shoes for men. The shoe rack for men, kind of.
Right, exactly. Folks, Sears, 562-7700. Join them down at the Food City Shopping Center. Your hometown Sears store is where it's at, inside or out. It doesn't really matter. They've got everything that you need. Also, please buy some washing powders because poor old Gary's having a fit. Ain't that a fact?
That's right, and it's getting close to Christmas, you know.
It is. Also, we would like to thank Charlie's Pizza. Often imitated, never duplicated for 39 long years. They've been doing pizza right, but guess what, folks? They've added so much more to their menu. So much more to choose from. If you're not in the mood for pizza, guess what? Don't go to another restaurant. Go to Charlie's.
Yeah.
They can fix you up hamburgers, hot dogs. How about a hamburger steak with potatoes or fries and a salad? I had 2 chicken breasts with, I know I say this all the time, but you just don't know how good it is. The chicken breast there is absolutely phenomenal. It's nice and juicy, has a great taste. They bake it in the oven, so you're not getting all that fried stuff. Mm-hmm. You're getting baked chicken breast. And of course, I cheat just a little bit. I have cheese put on the top of mine.
Well, and the salad bar is always fresh, and the ingredients on the pizzas and all the other foods is always fresh, and I think they should change the name to Charlie's Pizza and More.
Oh yeah, Charlie's Pizza and More. That sounds great. Phone number is 562-0116. Or if you'd like to go in and sit down, it's a great place to take the family. Open every day, Monday through Saturday, closed on Sunday, and go down and see Jerry. Jerry Parton will take care of you as well as all his fine employees, and we certainly thank them for their sponsorship as well. Also, we want to say thank you to Bird Screen Printing. Often imitated, never duplicated is what Charlie's Pizza is, but let me tell you what Bird Screen Printing is. If you want something that's an original, they can do it. You want something that's like everything else, they can do that as well. But designing t-shirts, designing the artwork is really what they're good at. They design some fantastic artwork to put on shirts, hats. If you want a hoodie like I've got is done by Bird Screen Printing, just like the sign that you've seen behind us. It's also done like Bird Screen Printing. They have a ton of things that they can do. Their phone number is 562-3044. Go down and see Larry, Colby, or Dawn. They will set you up. Right now is one of their busiest times of the year. And not only that, we used to say this quite a bit, or I used to say this quite a bit. Every dollar spent in this county, 68 cents stays in the county. I mean, let's face it. You want our county to get more of the money put in the budget, more money for the roads. Spend your money right here. Don't carry it off to Knox County. I had to have the conversation with my wife the other day. Said you wanted to go to Knoxville to go Christmas shopping.
What for?
Exactly. What for? Keep your money here, honey. 68 cents goes to this county, and that's what we need. Also, we want to say thank you to All-Star Awards now that I've got off my soapbox. All-Star Awards, 720 Jacksboro Pike, in the A-frame building directly across from the Sonic. Phone number is 562-6761. And I think if I had another sponsor to talk about, I'd have to write them down.
I can't believe you keep them up in mind the way you do.
I don't know how I do it either, but it's just good memory. When you memorize something for so long, you just got it.
Yeah.
Great sponsors. We want to thank them for everything that they do. We certainly want to welcome back Honeybee. She was certainly missed last week.
That's right.
We couldn't aggravate her like we normally do before the show. We always aggravate her, though.
That's what it's all about.
It is. If you like somebody, you aggravate them. All right, let's talk about some sports. As everyone knows, the county tournaments was what? Last weekend?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Jacksboro finished second out of 4 teams, so they got the second place plaque. In the small division, you have a large division and a small division. The Campbell County Christian Academy won the small division tournament.
That seems kind of backwards too, because I understand that it's a smaller school, but they're allowed to play bigger kids. So they're allowed to play 6th graders, and we're not. So it seems like it should be the other way around.
You know what? Some of those teams we played, I think we played some 6th graders.
Yeah, well, maybe, but throughout the year, I know we played one team that certainly had a young man that I've got video of his fingers hitting the net going for a rebound, and for kids that age, that's just unheard of,
Oh yeah, I think my son's pretty good size for him to be 10. Brent's son's pretty good size to be 10, but this kid was 11 years old, was what I was told.
No way.
Yeah, that's.
We're talking about the kid with the hair under his arms.
We're talking about the kids with the hair, kid with the hair under his arms. Wow. Absolutely, that's what I said. Wow. I thought maybe they lost a birth certificate and just grabbed one.
Yeah, maybe. That's who
I don't know, but that's
birth or something.
And the guy who told me was pretty straight up. I don't think for 1 minute he would tell me a fib.
It's very possible. There are people out there that develop quickly, and he had muscles like a teenager.
Yes,
impressive young and very, very good basketball player. Regardless of his age, I was very impressed with his ability.
Yes, but talking about Campbell County Christian Academy, they went 16-1. 16-1 team. The teams previously was only 15-1. I think, if I understand this right, they were 16-1 this year. They went all season with no one fouling out. How great is that? That's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
But they've got a good coach.
They do.
They
certainly do.
They've got a good coach, and Coach King, I think he's a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's got an eye for talent, because when I tried out for basketball when I was in middle school, I didn't make the team.
You got this.
I got the thumbs down. I got the thumbs down. But he knew what he needed. I didn't harbor hard feelings.
Right.
I just went back to the old drawing board and the shed out back.
Started shooting again.
Started shooting again. And that was okay, because he teaches fundamentals. And I'm going to tell you how I think he's an excellent coach. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably a lot of other folks in this county that think he's an excellent coach. He's one of those no-nonsense type of coaches. And to get this from a young team that last year, if you remember, they had the same team, but they were not near as good as they are today.
Right.
Last year was his first year. We beat them last year. Mm-hmm. Jacksboro beat them last year. This year, they beat us. They won the small division for the county tournament. They had William Paul made all district. He also was the MVP of the tournament. Parker Troutman made all tournament team. And with these young kids and the way they played last year and the way they played this year, it's entirely two different teams. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact of the way Coach King coaches the game of basketball. So, congratulations. We certainly want to say congratulations to those young men and to Coach King. Got a tournament victory, got the tournament. They won, so they're good to go. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think we got a good coach? I don't think. Yeah,
I appreciate what the man does. I really do. I appreciate. I don't know that anybody else would get out there. I mean, I don't know how it works. I don't know if he gets paid any extra. I don't know how all that works. But I'll say this: I'm glad that he cares enough to do it. But right. as far as X's and O's, I don't think he's probably. I couldn't do any better because I don't know. I'm still learning how the rules of basketball. But I'll say that if I was put on the spot as to whether I think he's a high quality basketball coach, I'd have to say probably not. I mean, but that's okay. We did pretty well running the plays that we were running. The bottom line is, and this is just my opinion, I don't think we could have beaten La Follette with any coach. I don't think there's a coach out there, and I'll tell you why. La Follette's team could all shoot. Right. They had shooters, true shooters. They were shooting from outside, inside, driving the lane, all that stuff, and we just never had that. And when you've got that many kids, there's kids coming off the bench that was hitting shots that we just couldn't hit. Right. And they had a really good team this year. I agree 100%. That's an excellent. And one thing more is their team was really small. Did you notice their biggest kids were not as big as our average size kids, but they had a lot of speed, great ball handling, and shot making, and that's what it boils down to. I don't think La Follette's that much better than we are. Well, if you see all matter of shooting, I think that. I think the better team won. I agree, and I think that it comes down to Seth Ward, the Boshears kid. What's the other kid? Ryland Ford. Maybe I can't remember his name. I just know that there's a couple that really stood out, but I think that any one of those kids would have started on our team. Any one of the kids on the first five would have been starters easily on our team. So, and just because. For whatever reason, and I think that happens sometimes, you'll have groups, and that's why you have one team beat another. That's just the way things work. Some kids are better at certain sports. They come in, they work hard at it, and I know that those kids work hard at basketball year round, even during football. Seth was talking about basketball. That's his sport. So I think that. It worked out probably the way it should. It was nice. It was nice to finish second in the tournament. That was right. That was good because, like I said, I don't think anybody could have beaten La Follette, honestly. And I don't think they lost the whole year, did they? They were undefeated. Somebody put that on Facebook that they were undefeated. I don't know. And that may be the case. I don't know. See, that's the one thing about it is Doug Boshears would know.
I would think Doug Boshiers would know, but he may not text me, but I'm sure they probably were.
Yeah, if they weren't, I would be amazed. I mean, of course, again, we play some of those teams that play the sixth graders, and that may have been somebody that could have snuck one in if they did get beat, but they were pretty dominant, I thought.
Well, anyway, the school basketball season is over for the elementary. We was going to have. I called Coach Kane of the middle school and was going to try to have him on tonight with Stretch Bailey.
Hey, wait a minute. You put me on the spot about our coach. What do you think?
I think that if you're going to compete in these tournaments and in everyday basketball, when basketball season's here, I think that you ought to have the best coach for the job. Period.
But what if
I don't think that you should place someone on a bench. Now, this is just me, and this is not against Coach Philpott at all.
Mm-hmm.
But his assistant, to me, didn't need to belong there just because they wanted to come coach. They don't need to be there. They ought to know the game, period. If just because someone comes in and says, well, I think I want to coach this year, I don't think that they ought to have that opportunity unless they have a basketball background, they know the sport, they know the game, and I personally just, to be honest with you, just don't think they got it.
Well, I guess, and this was brought up to me, that I don't know if they get any kind of a stipend or anything in their pay. Do they get any kind of extra pay? I'm leaning
if
towards
that's the case, well, okay. If they did get extra pay, shouldn't the best coach be on the bench?
Well, yeah, certainly if they are paid. But I guess my issue is if let's say that nobody in the school wants to be the basketball coach, and Mr. Philpott and his assistant were both willing to spend their time, at practice and coming in for those games, not getting paid any extra for it. I guess
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I understand that. That doesn't mean that I have to agree with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily the best situation.
I mean, we've got our kids at school ball, and if you remember this correctly, school ball players cannot play rec league. They have to play in a school ball rec league like they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
Yeah.
Okay. If they're supposed to be so much different coaching at school ball, then give them the coaching that you think that they're supposed to have. Follow me?
Mm-hmm. Well,
because they shouldn't be penalized not to come and play rec ball with any other team.
Right. If they're not learning at the same level that other coaches are teaching them, then certainly it's not fair to them.
Exactly. Why punish the kid and say, well, you can't come play at rec league. You have to wait till school ball's over, and then you have to play on a school top atmosphere. And then they have two divisions, right? Mm-hmm. They had two divisions last year, if my memory serves me correct. We didn't play the other rec league teams. We played teams that kids played on basketball games at other schools.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
So that tells me if the kids at the school ball level is supposed to be that much better being taught, then you need to put the best coach on the bench, whether he's getting paid or whether he's not. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Again, though, I guess the last, just to kind of sum it up, though, what if you don't have anybody else available and you've only got two people that are willing to do it? Then I say thank you for doing it. Because without them doing it, who's going to do it all?
I'm going to say thank you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling Just Sports. You on the air. Hello.
I thought you hung up on me.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, here we are. For the first time in my life, I want to talk about football.
You know why?
I've got a pretty good idea.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know anything about football, but let's talk about it, okay? Let's just change the subject, Les.
Okay.
You've been reading that book. You've done a fine job on that book. I really feel like you're ready to write a report on it. It's time to move on.
Well, here, I went to the Campbell County basketball game tonight.
I didn't.
And that's a team that we should have beat tonight. Plain and simple. I went all the way up into the late third quarter, and that is a team that we should have beat. I mean, Clinton changed up the defense. They pressed some. They played half court and they run a half court trap. I get all that, but we've got way too much talent at the high school level to get beat by a Clinton team.
Well, first of all, you must have been talking to Brackett for you to know what a half court trap is and changing the defense. So I think you've done good. You've really been studying. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So you've done a good job.
Thank you, buddy.
But that little coach, he's sharp. I don't know if you noticed, I've watched him coach for years.
Yeah.
And very disciplined. He gets his kids' attention real quick. When he whistles, they know that whistle. And it's like an old dog. They come to the whistle.
Right, I took notice.
Whistles, they change up.
I took notice of that tonight.
Is Chris Locker still the coach?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I graduated with him.
He is I tell you what, he was doing some things with that Clinton team that I mean, that little point guard at number 33, I don't know the kid's name.
I don't know if it's kids' names. I didn't like I said, I didn't even come to the game tonight. But I watched him coach over at Fulton, and he had Fulton on the ropes a couple times.
Wow.
I mean, the guy knows the basketball game.
Well, let me run this by you then. Can we afford, well, and you don't have, I would much rather you not answer this, but
Thank you.
I'm going to ask Brent this
Brent
question.
knows what I'm talking about.
I'm going to ask Brent this question. Brent, can we afford to have a coach that learns with the kids, or do we need a coach that knows?
Well, I know where you're going, and I
mean,
say this. Let's look at Clinton, for instance.
Okay.
You know, I don't know how many years Chris has been the head coach, but before that, his dad Don was the head coach. It's almost like a dynasty. They've been there for years. I mean, his dad was head coach when I was there, and I graduated in '88, and he was the coach when I got there in '84. You know,
Right.
So there's been a lot of time. They've been doing a lot of things the same way for a long time, and they've had some great teams. They've had some great
They
athletes.
named the gym after him down there, didn't they?
Yeah, I believe it is.
After his father, not
Don.
the current coach.
Exactly. And, you know, I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, that goes in any coaching, in any sport. Obviously, if you've got a young man, it's great to have young blood. It's great to have somebody that's focused and excitable and
Right.
you know, that can get on the kid's level. But at the same time, you've got to be able to like the caller said, crack that whip and blow that whistle, and they come alive. You know.
I think it's
That's not the referee's whistle.
Right.
The guy just has a very distinct sound when he whistles.
oh yeah, he absolutely does. And at first, I did not know where that whistle was coming from, and then I took notice it was him because when the whistle started, his players stopped, and his point guard would look and make sure he got the play in, and then they would start running their half court. And I mean, it was just
Right, and my point was the discipline of it.
Right.
That's the key, the discipline. When they hear that, they know that he means business. They better be paying attention, or come Monday, they're going to run their brains out. You know?
Yeah.
And
They
that's,
see stuff they don't see.
yeah.
right. And he did. I thought he done a fantastic job. I think Coach Housley is in a situation, to be perfectly honest with you. I like Coach Housley, but I think sometimes we get out coached. I mean, that's just my opinion from what games that I've seen this year and some last year. But I like his enthusiasm. But is that getting the victory?
I haven't
Let
seen.
me ask you, like I said, I missed the game. I had to work late, got home late. It's just one of those things. I just didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
But what happened the last 30 seconds? I mean, it seemed like it was a different team there. What happened?
Well, that I don't know. I was here at the station because we had to get on the air, but they were down 64-52. The last I think that I seen, and the game ended up at 64-59. I don't know what happened. I was trying to watch it, a little bit of it here at the station, but I didn't get a chance to see exactly the difference. But let me tell you, when the Campbell County Cougars run, when they run and they have that up-tempo, that very fast up-tempo game, they are an entirely different team. Entirely different team. Now, Oak Ridge would not allow us to do that because they pressed just about the whole game. So we couldn't get into that. We can't get into that running gun
I'm not
stuff.
going to take up any more of your time. I just thought maybe it might be good to talk about football. And hey, brag on those boys. You know, have any of them signed yet? Last that you know of.
Not that I know of. I know that Nick Bailey has went to. He was at Carson Newman. He had a visit at Carson Newman. I need to get a hold of Nick and find out if he has got an offer. But to the best of my knowledge, I don't know the answer to that as of yet.
That's a good football school. The Screaming Eagles have been there in the finals there many years, and they've got a good coach up there. I don't know his name, but
Ken
I've heard a lot of
Sparks.
good things about Carson Newman's football program. It's a good school for a good education. So I'd like to see Nick stay close to home, but still get a good education and enjoy what he's doing playing football.
I agree.
I mean, that'd be great for him.
I agree 100%.
What about any of the others? Andrew Evans?
Andrew Evans, I think, has an opportunity to go to Tusculum, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I was told. Now, whether or not that's, like I'm getting secondhand information. I hadn't had a chance to talk to him. I'll certainly try to nail that down.
Another good school. Tusculum's a good school. Don't know that much about their football program.
Yeah.
But another good school. What about Phillips? You heard anything about Phillips? Is he doing anything?
Phillips, we had Phillips on the show, and he was talking about some college like the Cumberland University of the Cumberlands, not particularly that college, but the NAIA schools, because they don't really start recruiting till sometime in January.
Is Keith Jeffers going to let Ethan skip his senior year and go straight on into college to play ball?
I don't think so.
I'm glad they don't allow it.
Me too.
Keith would go crazy if he missed the senior year, wouldn't he?
Guess what's going to happen when Ethan does go play college football someplace? Guess what's going to happen to Keith?
Keith's going to move.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
Pack
Keith,
up the whole family and move wherever Ethan's at.
I guarantee
Ethan's
you.
done a great job. Keith's proud of him, and I don't blame him. I'd be proud of him too. He's a great kid. Of course, that Price has got the discipline too. It's a great group of kids. I saw him tonight on a picture, and they just looked like they had their acting gear in that picture. I think who was Andrew Evans and was it Phillips and Dick on the front page of the sports page?
That was Christian Monday.
Yeah, it was Christian Monday, Nick, and
Evans.
Evans.
My fault. They look good. They look intimidating. I wouldn't want to be tackled by them.
No, I wouldn't either.
Hey, I'll let you go. Just wanted to change the subject.
All right, brother.
It's been a good night.
See you, buddy.
See you, buddy.
Bye. I guess how can you talk about local sports just like we have tonight? Mm-hmm. Do you ever have concern about maybe having some flack come back on us?
Yeah, sure.
But thank you, Just Sports, you on the air.
How did the girls do tonight?
Oh man, the girls spanked Clinton. Spanked them.
Well, it was halftime. I was listening to it on the car radio. When I got my house, I got to turn the radio on.
Yeah, they absolutely spanked Clinton.
Well, good.
And it is Ryan Browning's 6th consecutive win in a row.
Oh, yeah, they've got some guards that gets that ball, too.
Yeah, he can certainly, they didn't start the season off extremely well. They started off, I think, losing like 3 or 4 consecutive basketball games in a row. And then all of a sudden, I talked to Ryan Browning last Friday night after the Oak Ridge win. They beat Oak Ridge by 30 points, I guess.
Wow.
And I said, Coach, what is the difference? And he said, they just have some camaraderie now. They are starting to play together, and they're just starting to gel and do things, the way that you need to do to win basketball games. And I thought that was pretty amazing.
Well, he's got Jill cheering him on.
Well, sure he does. Absolutely, because, she was a basketball player herself.
Yeah.
And it's like this.
He's got 2 kids that are teaching to play ball.
Right, exactly. You're exactly
They'll
right.
make goodness, too.
Yes, they will.
Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
She Knows her stuff.
She does. Folks, we're going to step away for a short commercial break for our executive producer, Honeybee, that's so patiently waiting as she does every Tuesday night that we have the show. You're watching Just Sports.
WLAF Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Tuesday night edition of Just Sports. My name is Les Martin, along with none other than Brent Allen. Greg, of course.
That's who's missing. I knew there was something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got some big... Greg is one of these guys.
He's a big shot. You can say it, he's a big shot.
He's a six-figure guy.
Yeah, big shot.
Big shot, big money, six figures. He's going to be at some type of shindig tonight and Thursday night, so he's not going to be here Thursday night either. And that's what happens when you become of a man of great importance.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I mean, when
he's probably entertaining the governor, I would guess.
Somewhere, no doubt, he's probably refinancing the deal to where he can bring in Obamacare. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I tell you, no, he is out tonight, and he'll be out Thursday night. We certainly hope he has a great week. But anyway,
to go back to what you said before break, you were asking about catching flack for what we say and things like that. I know that you have as well as I. I mean, we bite our tongues. We're human. We have issues about certain things, and certainly we want to be as supportive as possible. But my goodness, would it be a show if every single night we said the same thing? Hoorah! Great job! Even though we're getting killed,
exactly.
You got to have. That's what it's all about.
I agree, and I think it's much like it's. We said this before on this show, and Coach Price probably had a little bit of heartburn with it at times, but he understood. But he even admitted himself last year, not the 10-2 season, but the year prior, when they went 3-7, he even made comments like, I got out-coached. So,
well, that's something else. And again, not to harp on it, but keep in mind, these guys have been coaching for a while. Don't get me wrong. But when they came here, they're going against some guys in our district, for instance, that have a lot of experience. A lot of experience at high school football and our kind of high school football, and it's tough. And they've made the adjustments necessary, obviously. By the record from last season, but I would have to give them a couple of seasons to kind of get caught up. Even if it went to if they went to a small college and was coaching there, it's going to be the same. There's going to be a learning curve that they have to figure out to get into that district or that.
There's going to be that lull there to where you're going to ask yourself this question. And I'm sure Coach Price. I know if I was in Coach Price's position, I would have probably asked myself this question. I'm not saying Coach Price did. That's the reason why I flipped that around and put it on me.
There you go.
I would ask myself, what am I doing? It's like when I first took this job that I've got now. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I run around like a chicken with my head cut off, didn't have a clue what to do next, and I asked myself many questions. What are you doing? And I'm sure that Coach Price, during his first year or two, because like you said, much like Coach Housley, these guys are coaching against some immensible talent from other schools, not only in football, but in basketball as well. Now, can Coach Housley afford to be put in a position to learn as he goes? Because that's certainly what it is. It's a learning curve.
Sure.
He's got to learn how to coach against these guys, and we'll continue this in just a second. Thank you for calling Just Sports. You on the air. Hello. But it's one of those situations, Brent, that right now Coach Housley's probably thinking to himself, well, I probably should have done this, or I should have probably have done this. Is it okay to get aggravated? Absolutely.
But you have to keep in mind, I'm sure they're just as aggravated as anybody else.
Exactly.
Nobody likes to lose.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Thank you for calling Just Sports. You on the air.
Just want to congratulate the WLAF broadcast team going 10-2 this season, right up here with the Cougar football team. Brent and Les, the whole crew, Noah, B, Jason.
Well, thank you.
congratulations on a great season with your podcast this year. We really appreciate that. Thank you a lot.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah, yeah, that was great. It's,
I think that's kind of goes along the same lines as what we were just talking about. You kind of learn as you go a little more, and you look at, for instance, the two of us up there bumbling around trying to call a game, and then you look at somebody. Give me a pair of Madden and who always was on Monday Night Football with
Pat Summerall.
Pat Summerall. Those two guys have been doing it for years, and certainly if they sat down next to us in the booth over and they called the game, I imagine it would be a little different. They might paint a little better picture, and that's kind of how we're going. That's kind of the same situation with the coaching.
Exactly.
You've got to look at time and how many years you've been doing this same system, how many years you've been doing it the same way, and it gets so easy, like you rattling off the sponsors. I still can't do it. I hear you do it every or twice a week, and I still can't remember the phone numbers, and it's just a matter of repetitive and getting used to doing something.
Well, and I think that's probably Coach Housley's biggest challenge right now is not only is he coaching his kids against another team, but he's also matching wits. And I'm not saying, when I say matching wits with the other coaches, I'm not saying that he is shorthanded when it comes to the coaching ability, but he just may not have.
Well, making those corrections on the fly, or
exactly,
or reacting to their action rather than having a great game plan is awesome. But when that game plan is not working, you've got to be able to change on the fly. And I think that's what Carl was talking about earlier with Coach Lockard has the ability to get their attention, change what they're doing, because he sees something that they don't, and that's what it's all about.
And that's the same way with Coach Housley. And Coach Housley would get there, and they knew, and so did Coach Housley. He knew going into this that it's one of those situations to where he's got a long road ahead of him. He's got a big mountain to climb.
Yeah, it doesn't help that nobody's. I mean, you've got a relatively shorter team than average. I mean, that certainly puts you behind in certain situations. So, taking that into consideration, I'm sure there'll be years in the future where we're back to.
And speaking of Coach Housley, we're going to have Coach Housley on the show Thursday night, right here. Also, after Christmas break, we're working on getting Coach Kane and Stretch Bailey on the show, as well as Cody Parker and a couple of his players. So we've got some folks lined up for the show.
All basketball, all the time.
All basketball, all the time. But we can't wait for Coach Housley to come on to the show Thursday. We're going to also try to work on getting Coach Browning on the show as well. And these coaches both do a great job. They continue to make changes as they go. Coach Browning's a little different situation. He's been there. Mm-hmm. Coach Housley, it's only his second year. Is that right? Second or third year?
I believe you're right.
I think he's second or third year, maybe his third year, as far as coaching. So it's tough.
It is,
especially to coach in this district. If he coached a single A team or a double A team, I'm sure that he probably wouldn't have near the growing pains as he would coaching in this district, because he's coaching in one of the toughest districts in East Tennessee.
Yeah,
hands down.
If you looked at it from point of view such as college, like you said, it is a tough district, and it's not. We're not just saying it because we're in it. I mean, it's because of the other teams that have had years of great talent, and a lot of victories. But the bottom line is, if you looked at the districts and if they were paid like the SEC versus the the WAC or whatever it is out there, some of these other conferences, there's a big difference in pay, and that would be the same as well. That would be the same in our situation as a 5A school in our district. They'd probably be receiving higher pay if it were done that way, by conference or by district.
I agree with you 100%.
Tougher competition.
Also got a text message saying, yes, let me make sure I'm reading this correctly. Yes, they get paid a supplement.
So the elementary school coaches do get paid a stipend or a supplemental.
It only makes sense, because if you're going to pay a supplement to the middle school and the high school, how can you rule out the fact of paying a supplement to elementary schools?
Yeah, I agree, but I just wasn't sure how it worked out. That was brought to my attention, and again, my point was I didn't want to say, we need to, like you were saying, if you're paying somebody extra to do it.
Put the
But
best
again,
one on the bench.
Again, here's the other situation.
Sure.
I'm sure it's not very much. It's not like it's going to make or break somebody, the difference that they pay them.
Okay.
But, but if nobody else is interested, if that little bit of money, that little supplemental money that they add in there is not enough to get somebody interested that's really big on coaching, then again, you're back to where we were before. You get what you got.
Okay, I understand that, but if I'm not thinking that should be an issue.
Well, they have to be a teacher there. They have to be a teacher there at the elementary school, and that's tough. You don't have that many aspiring, high school coaches starting at that level.
Right.
They generally start at the middle school level and work their way up or whatever, or as an assistant with a high school. And so looking around the school, which I don't know who all the teachers are there, and I don't know what their backgrounds are. There might be some with some great basketball backgrounds, but it is what it is.
All right, we're going to get away from that for just a little bit. Folks, we're going to have Coach Halsey on the show Thursday night at 9 o'clock right here on WLAF. We'll get to talk and ask him some of his challenges.
Sure.
We'll ask him what does he feel like that is one of his toughest challenges.
What's the deal?
Exactly. We'll ask him. We'll let him voice his opinion, and that's what it's about.
That's right.
Also, Denver Broncos is back in the driver's seat of having home field advantage because the Patriots got beat by Miami.
Who would have seen that coming?
I am so glad because when Denver lost to San Diego Thursday night by a score of 27-20, and yes, folks, we're going to talk about a little bit of football here. It's not something that we often do. But we're going to talk a little bit of football. Do you think Peyton's got what it takes to finish the season out with winning the rest of the games and having home field advantage? And would that make a difference in the playoffs for the Denver Broncos?
Oh, I think so. I think he likes playing there at the Mile High Stadium, and I think it would be big for him. I hate to admit it. I have talked to a guy at work today, and we were discussing this same issue, and he was he's not really a big fan like I am of Peyton Manning, which, by the way, when you point out that he did win the Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year this year.
Absolutely.
And I think it's well deserved. But he was pointing out that he's got a lot of records, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of wins, one Super Bowl win. And it was kind of the same thing when he was at Tennessee. We beat everybody except Florida. And it was just it seems to be a situation for him, and you can't really put your finger on it. I mean, what was it? What's the formula? Nobody knows.
It's like this. I think the formula is simple. You're paying the man $95 million. You don't have much money left to pay somebody to put around you on the defensive side of the ball because Denver's defense is horrible.
I wouldn't say horrible.
Jack Del Rio is coaching his tail off.
Yeah, but they've got some playmakers on the other side of the ball there, and I think though with the offensive line,
do you think they've got a Super Bowl defense?
I think they can. I think that they can score enough, and their defense can hold off enough. Now, are they a dominating, smothering, old-style Steelers? No, they're not. Are they Ravens? Defense? No. But they do have enough to get them by in most situations. But it's going to be critical coming up in the next few games that they continue to play at a high level or at the highest level possible. And of course, Manning's going to have to stay on the field a lot. Keep the defense off the field, which is kind of opposite. That's kind of what the other teams are wanting to avoid. Is they're wanting to keep Manning off the field, and of course,
right.
As long as he's throwing touchdowns, though, he's got 47 touchdowns, I think, so far, and he doesn't seem to be letting up. He's got some talented receivers. I think they've got a real good shot this year.
Well, I certainly think so as well. I'm a little concerned, like I said, about the defense. Certainly, Peyton Manning will be playing in cold weather in Denver.
Are you saying that it's because of Peyton's paycheck that the defense is not as good?
Absolutely, he had the same issue in Indianapolis. I mean, he didn't have an overwhelming defense in Indianapolis.
No, but he also took a bunch of guys that nobody had ever heard of and turned them into superstars on offense. So where do you draw the line? Do you want the best quarterback? In my opinion, the best quarterback of all time. And I know people are going to disagree. The phone will probably lie out. What about this guy? That may be, but I think when it's all said and done, we're going to look back and he will surpass, Montana and Marino and Bradshaw and all those guys as far as being looked at as the overall best quarterback. Now, he may not have those. I mean, I think Bradshaw had four
Super Bowls.
Wins. That is, he played several and more. But the point is, I think that we'll look back and say that he was the best quarterback of all time, and I think that he brings it up to a level that the other guys, even on defense, see his work habits, see the way he does things. And I think that he brings the entire team up.
Thank you for calling Just Sports. You on the air?
I went to the high school last night and watched the drama teams play, and they had two fellers on there playing cops, running after a convict. They could do some running, buddy, across the stage and down the steps. I laughed till I cried. That's the best play I was ever in to see.
Really?
They did real good. You have to go watch them sometime.
I will. Ain't Billy Joe Ralston over that?
Yeah, I don't know what Ralston she married, but she's good at it. There was about 75 there in her 3 classes, I think, that she had to stand up out in the auditorium that wasn't in this particular play, but they must have been 75 of them all together.
Wow, that's
That's a bunch of actors.
Yes, it is.
They did real good.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, she keeps up with everything, doesn't she?
She does. On that same note, Mr. Is it Edwards over the music? Is that his name? I can't believe I've forgotten. Over like chorus and ensemble and all that.
I don't know.
Well,
that's a good question.
I went to one of their concert, their Christmas concert. Outstanding job. He's got a real passion for teaching that stuff and does a great job at it. And was very proud of those kids. And it takes a lot of nerve to stand up there. I mean, it was dead silent. They're standing in front of a packed house and get up there and sing a song solo. And they did a great job. I mean, everybody out there did a great job. Had a couple little issues, which anybody that was there would know what I'm talking about, but I think the heat got to a couple of the kids. We had them pass out and a couple get sick, but it was a great job overall.
Where was it at?
At the high school auditorium.
I bet it was packed.
It was jam packed. I mean, it was standing room only, and again, they did a great job.
Wow.
Just something I want to throw out there because you don't hear about it much, and those kids, we've got a lot of talented kids at that school.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something else too that I've got a pet peeve with.
What's that?
The girls play basketball. The high school Lady Cougars play basketball before the boys. Mm-hmm. But they do not have the national anthem until the boys' game.
That's not good.
So my question is this. I took notice to that each time I went. Why wouldn't they do the national anthem prior to the girls' game?
Well, unfortunately, Les, I think it's the same as our softball program. There's no support. We've got a coach who's dedicated. I mean, she's really pushing these girls to do better and doing, I think, a great job of trying to make something out of nothing. And she doesn't get the support, And I think that the girls' teams we've seen throughout history. I mean, there are lawsuits that have been won. Like Title IX, I think it was. I can't recall all of that. But what I will say is, our female athletes deserve just as much recognition, and certainly when it comes to the national anthem or prayer before the games or before their tournaments or whatever it is that they're doing, I think it should be just as high on the list.
Well, and that's all I was kind of wondering too. Is it's one of those situations to where while I think it should be done before the girls' game, that way it's done and out of the way, and they come in there. And,
Yeah, or do it twice. I mean, does it hurt anything to do it twice? I don't have a problem with it. I'll stand up
Probably not.
twice,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
most people do stand up in between games and a halftime.
exactly, and I understand, but if it's certainly not. If it's a situation where they're going to say, well, that's too, it hampers people's
It's a tradition.
right, and I think it should be at the beginning of the. If it's two games, then it should be at the very beginning of the first game. That's the way we do it in baseball or a doubleheader. We don't do it again the second.
Right.
I don't know. I think that you make a good point.
I just thought about that, and I was talking to an individual about it the other day, last Friday, and my question was to him, why wouldn't they do it at the beginning of the girls' game?
Yeah, our softball team, for instance, they can't get a bus, to take them. We have to drive them. Parents have to drive them to Jellicoe or wherever it is they're playing. And it's tough. It makes it tough. You have to be there kind of early, and I don't know. I think that's something that should be addressed. And I think that, of course, if you look back at just the way things are going, I think it's going in the right direction.
Right.
Because it wasn't so long ago that the football team didn't get any support either. I mean, it wasn't. Nobody got. None of our sports seemed to get any support, with the exception of maybe basketball.
Does winning change that?
Winning does change. And I think that's what Coach Price has brought to the county. Really is showing, and it's a shame that it's that way, but it's true. As long as you're winning, look at the attendance at UT. I mean, it's the same thing. When we're winning, it's 102,000 every game. When we're not winning, it was for 1 year it was 85,000. They said this past year averaged 95,000. I disagree. I don't think it was that much, but that's what they said.
Time to go on Just Sports. You on the air? Hello? I can't hear.
Yes, I was just calling about that. Hello?
Yes, you're there. You're on.
Can you hear us? Go ahead, caller.
I was just calling about that young. Yes, I was calling about that young man at the middle school. I heard you talking about Stretch Bailey on there.
Yeah.
And, I know he's a young man and stuff like that. I went and watched him a couple times, and I think the young man's got talent. Just kind of give me a little bit what you think about it.
Well, I haven't got to see him play, for one, but he's 6'3". He's in the 8th grade. I've been told that he is a very good basketball player in the post, plays extremely well, and Coach Parker told us the other night on the air that he just didn't have an answer to stop him. He didn't have anybody to match up with him, and it's one of the things that we try to do is get some younger kids on the show, and we haven't had a chance to get Coach Kane on as long as we've been on the air. February 8th will be 3 years. We'll be starting of our 3rd year, actually. We hadn't had a chance to get any of the LaFollette middle school kids on, and he just seemed like a good place to start.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, why not? We're going to get some other kids on as well. I didn't have a whole lot of time to talk to Coach Kane about it, but he was in a hurry. He was about to start basketball practice. I told him I'd like to get him and Stretch on. Also, I'd like to get a couple other his players on as also.
Yeah, sure. The football team's starting to pick up a little steam last year, and I think they'll be quite a bit. I think they'll be improved next year at LaFollette, and we need to get those guys some recognition, just like Jacksboro gets.
And what people don't understand is we hold down full-time jobs, and
Yeah,
I'm not complaining by no means, because I'm doing what I love to do right here.
Yeah, this is just something fun to do, and
But
if we can get recognition for any of these kids, and
Right.
heck, some of these guys might not be that into the sport, and they start seeing that people are watching or listening, and it may perk them up and make them try even harder.
Well, what we need is we need some folks to help. We need some coaches to call in, coaches to get a hold of us. If you want to get a hold of us, you can get a hold of us via the Facebook.
Yeah,
that's very simple.
Yeah, very easy, and
our phone number's on there.
Yeah, there's no age. It doesn't matter if you're coaching Little League or whatever. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we need. We need folks to give us information, because we can't spend our day, trying to gather up information, because, like you said, we have jobs and families. And
if I was independently wealthy, on the other hand, I could spend all my time at all these schools and get all these players and all these coaches here.
Well, maybe
I can ask
one of
all
your
the bad
friends-
questions.
Maybe one of your friends will win that $636 million Mega Millions tonight and give you a chunk of it.
Well, he would have to play and win because I don't play the law.
That's why I said somebody would have to do it for you. But you probably wouldn't accept it anyway. So it's if somebody wins it though, maybe they'll get something going. Maybe a bigger some sort of a sports complex. You've heard about the Rocky Top. Everybody's talked about the Rocky Top situation and changing Lake City to Rocky Top.
Yeah.
They're talking about putting in a sports complex with a jumbotron and turf field, things of that nature.
And where's this money coming from?
Well, the gentleman that's looking to invest, he's the one that brought it to their attention or whatever. Apparently has the money or the backing to do this sort of thing. It'd be all part of the renovation and changing of Lake City into Rocky Top and turning it into a theme park kind of deal. And they would be able to host the Battle of Rocky Top, things like that. Like maybe the championship game would be held there, things like that. It'd be really neat, and it would of course help everyone surrounding, which would include us. So that'd be neat.
Yeah, because part of Lake City or Rocky Top, whichever it is.
Well, so many of our kids intertwine throughout the year,
Right.
Playing either for Lake City or against Lake City, or they're friends, for whatever reason, just because it's so close.
I agree, 100%. But speaking of which, getting back to my question, does winning change things? You said yes, but we've been in a situation before that our basketball program has been in a winning tradition. I mean, I remember when I went to school there, we were known for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they got buses and things like that, but shouldn't we get, I guess my question is, or my statement is this: some of the money that Maryville gets, Maryville High School and Alcoa,
Mm-hmm.
they get it from, is it anonymous donors, or how does that work?
I don't know.
How do
I
we
really
get
don't.
something like that started?
How can they afford to pay George Quarles the salary he makes?
Winning would certainly have to change things because that money's got to be coming from someplace.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the $1 million question.
See, I don't quite understand that. So, Coach Price, keep winning. Coach Housley, tighten up your bootstraps, dig in. Let's get some winning basketball going on. Let's get some winning football, some more winning football going on. And softball girls, let's rock it out. Baseball boys, I want all of our Cougar teams to win.
Yeah. Now we've got soccer.
Yep, now we got soccer.
Why don't we have wrestling?
Oh, Lord.
Well, other schools in our district, in 5A, it's common to have those things. We don't have a swimming pool, so we can't have swimming, but it's certainly something that should be looked at. Put in a pool.
Sure, why not? I agree.
Yeah, these things cost money, though.
I know, but you know what? We gotta do it sooner or later, right?
Well, you have to look at the fact that the county only has, probably a third of the population of Anderson County, for instance. Or probably less than that, actually. And that's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah, there's
But all these folks from Ohio during the summer that come down and spend a bunch of money, surely that money's going somewhere. That's my question. Because every other car's got Ohio tags.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know how they do it. They come down and stay for 3 months and then go back,
That is an excellent point.
Real quick before we go, I know
Sure.
we're up against it here, but just something to point out, the top 10 JUCO players in the country, 7 of them are going to SEC schools, which is pretty impressive. But more impressive than that is 3 of them come to Tennessee.
Oh, that's awesome. Who are they? Give us the top
Real quick,
3.
the top 3, LaVon Pearson, the wide receiver from Quincy, California. He's the 4th-ranked JUCO player in the country. And Devontae Lambert, defensive end from Georgia. He's the 6th-ranked. And Dontavius Blair, an offensive lineman from Garden City, Kansas. He's the 8th. But we also have the number 18, which is Chris Weather, the linebacker. You've probably already heard of him. And it seems like we have one more. Yeah. Owen Williams, a defensive tackle out of El Dorado, Kansas. So got some guys that should be able to come in and make an immediate impact.
Direct impact.
Right. They've already been playing college ball. So
Exactly. They're just going to move it up a notch. Folks, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to move it up a notch. We'll be back Thursday at 9 o'clock. For our executive producer, Honeybee, my name is Les Martin.
I'm Brent Allen. God bless. Go Cougars.
WLAF Sports Network.